Good morning, everyone. As we break into our regularly scheduled routine, of course, the names Kellen Moore, Spencer Rattler, and Tyler Shuck will be mentioned, but the focus today will be on our annual college football and NFL annual predictions. I think I said annual twice, but whatever. You know what I mean. It happens every year. We're doing it again. I'm joined by our Friday friends, Zach Ewing and Gabe Henderson. And don't worry, when we're done, we will return you to your regularly scheduled programming. We also will talk a bit about tomorrow's season openers for LSU and fake Death Valley, and at likely rainy Ullman for Tulane season opener against Northwestern. It's all coming up on a special birthday edition of the Dattitude podcast, which starts right now, my friends.
If you're looking for the latest scoop and in-depth interviews on the Saints, the NFL, the Pelicans, LSU, along with the best bets of the week, then lucky you. Along with high-powered, in-the-know guests who cover our teams, Jim Derry brings plenty of Dattitude. And he'll always tell you the way it is, or at least the way he thinks it is.
Where you at, Dattitude family? More importantly, where were you at 20 years ago today? I was thinking about putting a little montage together, but I'm like, if you want to see it, you've been seeing it. If you don't want to see it, you don't come here to see that. So I didn't do anything. We know what today is, and I'm not talking about my birthday, of course. Thank you, everybody, ahead of time. I know it's going to be in the comments. I have not, as always, I don't look at the comments until I'm ready to go because I am Ron Burgundy. If you type it in, I'm probably going to read it. We'll come into that. Anyway, 20 years ago today, I remember it as clearly and as vividly as I remember yesterday. It was birthday number 37 in Birmingham, Alabama. This is birthday number 57. I'm here. Let's celebrate just north of New Orleans. And I am so happy to have y'all here as we celebrate on Dattitude, episode number 409, presented by Evangeline Securities for a Friday, August the 29th, 1968. Oh, no, I mean 2005. Oh, wait, no. I mean 2025. I finally got it together. There have been some big August the 20th. There's not just Katrina. There was Ida. There was Isaac. I had to look back. Gustav was on September the 1st. Yeah, man. Nothing today. It is ugly outside. But there are no 100-mile-an-hour winds or anything like that. It's just nasty old regular rain. So, and I am your host, Jim Derry, 35 years on the New Orleans sports media scene. I thank you for being a part of the Dat family. We're also celebrating another birthday. He's in the green room back there. Gabe Henderson. He turns 27 on Sunday. That means, let's see. I remember my 30th birthday. If I try hard enough, I probably could remember the day Gabe was born, although I don't really, that was kind of in a period where I didn't really remember a lot of days. Like even the next day when I woke up, I didn't remember the day before sometimes. That was definitely a different chapter of my life. Yeah, I don't do that stuff anymore. It was fun, though. Certainly was fun. You know what else I remember? I remember what makes our show special, and it sets us apart, because you can be a part of today's episode and every episode by typing in your comments. We're live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. Central Time, unless it's like a holiday or something. Guess one of those is coming up. If you're watching after the fact or listening on any of our major podcast platforms, if you don't want to see my ugly mug and our beautiful Dattitude logo that attaches to the mic from, you see this? There it is. From our friend Randy Cajun. If you don't want to see that, well, and you'd rather just listen, well, you can do that too. Any of the major podcast platform, you know what they are. You can get in touch with me anyway on X at Jim Derry Jr. or via email, as many of y'all have done this week, at jderry@theadvocate.com. And if you haven't done so, a lot of you have. If you haven't done so, please subscribe to our YouTube page. Just takes a second. Give us a like. Give us a thumbs up. Thumbs up. Thumbs up. All right. What is on today's show? I told you what's on today's show. It's a celebration. And we're going to have, today is going to be, I'm telling you, even if you're like, oh, he's not going to talk about Saints for an hour and a half. No, I'm not talking about Saints for an hour and a half today. We will talk plenty about Saints because when Zach Ewing comes on, by the way, Zach is our guest every Friday. He is the Saints editor here at the Times-Picayune and the Advocate, and Zach is coming on every Friday throughout the football season. So, of course, we're going to talk Saints. I'm going to get his opinion on you-know-what. We have not talked to him since the decision was made. We have not talked to him since the cuts were made, and he's not in the green room yet, so I can say this. I have a surprise for him. Remember, I told you Wednesday we were coming with receipts this morning? Well, we have a receipt. Remember, I told you I've been on Isaiah Foskey's ass since the day he was drafted. I have a 3-minute clip coming up from our live show on the night that the moment Isaiah Foskey was drafted, Zach and I were doing I think it was our first ever live draft show. I think it was the first one. Maybe it was the second one. I don't know. Whatever it was, I have it here from the old Bayou Bet show. I'm going to show that clip when Zach comes on. He doesn't know it yet, but we're going to have fun with it. Yeah. And again, please subscribe to the Dattitude YouTube channel. We're going to have fun with that. But then Zach and I are going to make our predictions. We're going to tell you who we think the 8 division winners are in the NFL. We're going to give you our Saints prediction on the record. If you did not see this morning, I finished up the NFL team by team previews, each in 3 minutes or less. This morning, the last one, I always save the Saints for last. I've done it for 4 years now. This morning, the Saints, I didn't give a prediction on the record. I gave you my prediction on over-under. If you haven't seen it, you can check that out after we get off the show here. But I am going to give you my prediction. I'm going to give my final Saints record prediction this morning or this afternoon, whenever it comes. It's going to be a longer than usual show, I can tell you that. And Zach will give his prediction. Gabe will give his prediction on the Saints. We also will give predictions on LSU's record, on Tulane record. All of those final records are coming up today. Our predictions are most certainly coming up. That is this morning. And then after Zach's done and we give our predictions on the 8 division winners, we're going to give you our prediction on who's going to play in the NFC and AFC title games. And we're going to give you our prediction on who's going to play in the Super Bowl, who's going to win the Super Bowl. It might be a surprise to some of you. Some of the picks are boring, the usual suspects. But look, and then after that, Gabe's going to come on. He also is going to give a Saints predicted record, LSU, Tulane record. And we're going to talk college football, and we're going to give our final 4. And I got to say, man, and also Gabe is going to tell me how right or wrong I was with the AFC and NFC South. We have been like in lockstep, which is very scary. I'm just saying. Our college football picks, Gabe doesn't know what mine are, but they're very, very similar to his. I'm just going to say that. And I did not look at his. Whenever somebody sends me something, I don't look at it till I'm ready to go. And I type my own stuff in because I don't want it to influence one way or the other. Same goes here. I did not look at Zach's picks until after I made my own, but we're weirdly similar. What about the Micah Parsons trade? Did that have anything to do with it? With our picks, I'm telling you right now, spoiler alert, you may see some influence, but my picks were made before that happened. What do y'all think about the Micah Parsons trade? I think that, my son thinks that Dallas got the better end of it with the 2 first-rounders and Kenny Clark. I think Jerry Jones is an idiot. I think it's a fantastic trade. And look, maybe it's a great trade. Maybe it ends up being a great trade for both because he didn't want to stay there. Now, it's Dallas's fault that he didn't want to stay there. So, in the grand scheme of things, Micah Parsons leaving there was going to happen one way or the other. So, the fact that you were able to get Kenny Clark, who, by the way, is no spring chicken. He's like, I think he's going to be 32 years old. He's either 32 or he's going to be 32 during the season. I think October. I think he's about to turn 32. So, I did that yesterday. You sure, Gabe? I'm almost positive he's going to be 32. All right. Anyway, Gabe says he's 30. I don't think that's correct. I will say this, regardless. If you're Dallas, it's a good deal for Dallas in the sense of, again, you had to get something because he didn't want to stay. He made it clear he's not staying. So he's gone. He wanted to go. The fact that you were able to get 2 first-round picks out of the deal, and a soon-to-be washed-up defensive tackle. I don't know. He's not washed up yet, but he's definitely on the downside of his career. We'll see. I thought it worked out for both, but Green Bay definitely. Green Bay absolutely got the better end of that deal. Just telling you. So we probably will get into Micah Parsons at some point. I don't want to spend too much time talking about it this morning because we got a lot of stuff to get to, including comments. I see I got a ton of them already. I'm going to get to them. I promise. We're going to start with comments a little earlier than usual. Boise, how about Boise State? 34-7 got bombed by, it was USF, right? Not UCF. USF, South Florida. The Bulls, they got bowled. They got the horns right in the keister. Boise, I'm sorry, but you're done. I don't care if you win the rest of your games. You're done. You can't lose 34-7, in my opinion. And UCF struggled with Jacksonville State, Gabe said. You can't lose 34-7 to South Florida and recover from that, in my opinion. So we'll see. That opens the door for Tulane, maybe. I mean, it's like obviously we haven't even started the season yet, so it's a little early to say. But anyway, we'll get into that. Only other thing I want to mention before I get to the comments this morning, again, as we get into Saints and our picks and all that stuff. How about got to give some props to one of my favorite ex-Cubs, Kyle Schwarber. How about Schwarber? 4 home runs, and he had a chance to hit his 5th off of a position player with 1 out in the 9th last night. Philly won, I don't know, 19-7 or something like that over the Braves. Position player hung this like 60-mile-an-hour breaking ball right over the heart of the plate, and he popped it up. Scott, what's that mean? Scott Froch, Alex Grinch. What does that mean again? He popped it up, man. Popped it up. He was pissed, man. It was kind of funny. But anyway, I enjoyed the hell out of that. That was a lot of fun. So if you're a baseball fan, that I'll go check it out. Schwarber almost. He tied the major league record, which has been tied, I don't know what, like 20 something times now, 30 times, a lot of times. Anyway, with 4 home runs in a game, and he almost had 5. He had a chance to have 5. He knew he wanted it. All right. Before we get to the comments this morning, again, that is coming up next on this birthday pick'em edition of the Dattitude podcast. I want to tell you about our friends at Evangeline Securities. Of course, they're a company that can help you decide if it's the right time to sell your family-run or privately held business. And just as importantly, they can figure out what that business is worth. That's you or someone you know. It's time to reach out to Evangeline's founding and managing partners, Nick Braden and Ronnie Melton. I'm happy to say thank you. Nick Braden reached out to me yesterday to wish me a happy birthday. I appreciate that. They will start by scheduling a complimentary valuation from their offices, either on Poydras Street or in Lafayette. From there, you will be well informed to begin to make the decision on if you want to proceed. What happens after that? Well, you're going to have to wait a few minutes. We'll fill you in more later in the show. In the meantime, you can check them out at www.evangelinesecurities.com. All right, what we got this morning? I'm diving in, man. This is a lot of comments. A lot of comments. So I'm going to have to skip over some of them. Antoinette! Nettie! What's going on? Happy birthday. Thank you. I appreciate that. I hear your son is going is doing well too. We miss the old Cleary days, Cleary playground. What's going on? It is the birthday boy episode. There he is. There's one of my presents. I also got a present. I don't know if Musette's here this morning. Musette Hood sent me a bag of coffee that she wanted me to try. And I tried it, and it's fantastic. I think 2 birthday presents from Dat family members. I appreciate it. Daryl Hayden, good morning. Happy birthday. You got me by 3 years. Right behind you. Mark Gatsky, who dat? You're NOLA bound in 6 days. We can't wait to have you. Charles Mangus, good morning. Dattitude family, happy birthday. Thank you. Rob, thank you as well. Good morning. Brian, good morning, Dattitude family. Another happy birthday. Thank you so much. Chad Gage, good morning. Jim and Gabe, happy birthday. That's right. Earl's Picks. You're here. Welcome. Brian's here. Can't wait to become one with the couch from tomorrow midday till midnight. I mean, I got a situation, by the way. I've got my wife, and she says I don't have to go, but it's one of our close friends, their parents, who I'm. It's not like it's their parents and I've only seen them like 5 times. No, I'm like, I guess friends. How would you say it? Friends with their parents? I don't know. this age anyway. It's one of our really close friends. It's 50th wedding anniversary tomorrow. Same time LSU's playing Clemson. What am I supposed to do? It's a quandary, surrounded by a riddle, wrapped in a conundrum. I have not decided yet. She says I don't have to go, but I kind of feel like a heel if I don't. I mean, I guess I could watch it on my phone. I probably won't be the only person there watching it on my phone. I don't know what I'm going to do. Anyway, we'll figure that out tomorrow. Who dat daddy? Go Tigers. Welcome. We're glad you're here. Yeah, Chad, don't watch the Netflix doc if I don't want to get pissed off and sad. I haven't watched any of them. I just have. This morning was really the only thing I watched. I had it on Channel 8 this morning, WVUE. And they had a lot of stuff, but a lot of it was positive. They were at Chalmette High, and look, for those of you who don't know, when Katrina hit, I was actually working out of the St. Bernard Bureau. I told the story before, and man, I made a lot of good friends out there. I'd been out there for a couple of years. Best days of my career. I'm not kidding. I mean, as much as I love y'all, I love this show. I love doing this show, but the best days of my career were in Chalmette. With my people. And yeah. In fact, I meant to throw a copy. I ran out of time, but somebody sent me a copy on Twitter. You can go find it on my X page. They sent me a copy of the last story that I wrote before the storm hit. And it was me covering the Chalmette Jamboree at Bobby Nuss on August the 27th. 2025. I'll never forget it. Coach Nick Saltamaggio has been on the show multiple times, and he actually texted me. I can't text him back yet because I can only do one thing at one time. I am Ron Burgundy. He after the game was over, after the Jamboree was over, he's like, Derry, get in here. We always, I'd write my story from the coach's office, and they had a side coach's office where Coach Salt's main office was. Go in there, and he's like, I'd have been busy all day. I didn't realize how big this storm had gotten, where it was coming, and how it changed trajectory. And it was coming right for us. I'll never forget that night. I'm telling you. I remember that night as much as I remember the next day and the day after that. I mean, Saturday we weren't leaving, and then Sunday morning we woke up like a lot of other people and got on the road and waited. Took 17 hours to get to Birmingham. Never forget it. Earl says, happy birthday to Gabe. Jartavius Nathan, who dat? Absolutely. What else we got? Brian says his granddad was also born on August 29th. Happy heavenly birthday. Tony, happy birthday from the Central Coast of California. Man, I'm sure it's beautiful over there. Although I heard it was like 90. Was it 90 degrees in Los Angeles yesterday, the day before? It's pretty warmish. Nathan Thomas. Good morning. By the way, I do know that Los Angeles is in Southern California. I mean, as the song goes, it never rains in Southern California, right? I do know that. So Central California. I'm sure it's a little bit cooler there. Hope you're enjoying it. Adam Varner, good morning. You've seen multiple posts. People thinking Rattler will get us to 11-6. I hope so, but come on, let's be realistic. Gonna be positive today. I'm gonna try to. Chris Artego, or am I a real diehard Saints fan? Define diehard, and honestly, on this show, that's not what I'm doing on this show. I'm not here to be a fan, okay? Don't get me wrong. I mean, everybody knows I'm realistically rooting for the New Orleans Saints to win for multiple reasons. I grew up as a kid as a Saints fan. I'm born and raised in New Orleans, born in Mercy Hospital. Been here almost all of my life, except for a few months here and there. Of course I root for the New Orleans Saints. I mean, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't. But when I do this show, it's more as an opinion thing. This is realism, my friend. I'm not sure where you're going at that. I kind of get it. But whatever. Musette, there she is. Happy birthday to me. Happy almost birthday to Gabe. Again, thank you so much for the present. I appreciate it. The coffee is great. Jartavius, by the way, says his prediction is 10-7. We got some positivity going on out there. Rocky, I know he's positive. Jerry, y'all think Mickey is bad. I don't know about that. Yeah. Anyway, Corey, happy 54th birthday. I remember my 54th birthday. It wasn't that long ago. What else we got? Chad Gage is making his prediction. 4-13. Earl's Pick says 7-10. Adam Varner says 4-13. LSU will be 10-2. Tulane is unsure. S. Callie, a bunch of birthday cakes. Good morning. Thank you. I can't blow out all them candles anymore. I just can't. What else we got? Chad Gage says he's clarifying that 4-13 with improvements through the year, giving a positive foundation. Okay. I'm trying to get through as many of these comments as I can. Zach Ewing's in the green room. We got to get rolling. Brian says, in his opinion, Cowboys did not get enough of a return, but that was a result of the circumstances. It could have been worse. How did the city of Dallas trade away Luka and Parsons in 12 months? That's true. Dwayne Hanson is excited to see how our open lawn is going to hold up. Offensive line, I'm sure he means, going to hold up, and the receivers get wide open. That can happen. I think Spencer's going to have a field day all year. I hope you're right, Dwayne. One Smoke, good morning. Thank you. Charles Broom. As a fan since 1967, he's pretty sure this will not be the worst Saints team ever. Well, it's hard. They're not going to be 1-16. That's what it'd take to be the worst team ever. They would have to be 1-16. I don't think that's going to happen. But if they are, Arch Manning would be a nice consolation prize. I hate to tell you this. Again, they're not getting Arch Manning. No one is this year. Unless the only way I think he's coming out is if Texas wins the national championship and Arch Manning wins the Heisman. And then I'm still not even sure. Hakeem, big dog. Oh, we didn't even talk about this. You love the Trey Palmer pickup. So do I. Local lightning bolt from Kentonwood. The Kittens. Hope he has a chance to contribute. I don't see how he doesn't. Dylan Smith, happy birthday. Well, thank you so much. The man, the myth, the legend. It's more like the myth. I think I'm definitely myth. Mal, happy 40th. Absolutely. I'm younger than Zach. I think Zach's 40. Zach, you 40? He's not shaking his head. They're going to tell me. Last two comments before we go. We bring Zach on. 3 comments real quick. Saints 5-12 says Charles Mangus. LSU 10-2. Tulane 10-2. Pels 50-32. Wow. Irvin agrees the Cowboys should have got more. And Cecil, happy birthday. You were also born at Mercy Hospital, and you're a Shaw dude. You were born on my dad's birthday, August 22nd, which was a week ago today, in 1964. My Shaw math tells me that you are just 4 years older than me. Wow, we got a lot in common, Cecil. All right. Let's move along, little doggy. We got a lot. I got so many slides in here, I can't even see them all. It's time to get what really matters, and that's Zach Ewing. What's going on this morning? Welcome on your Friday morning. How's it going?
Oh, pretty good. It just occurred to me. Happy birthday. It is 1 month since my birthday. I'm 41, by the way.
41. Okay. There you go. I remember 41. Seems like yesterday. Before we get to any of this stuff, of course, we're going to be doing our predictions on the NFL season. And I'm going to get you to, I didn't tell you this, but I'm going to get you to throw in an LSU record prediction and a Tulane record prediction at some point. But first off, this Saints line, we like to talk about lines, and I just, the odds makers keep moving this thing up and up. I don't think it's going to go any higher than 6.5. I think it's reached its ceiling. I'd be surprised if it goes to 7. But the fact that Arizona is a 6.5-point favorite in the Dome tells you all you need to know about what the odds makers think about this team.
Yeah, I mean, they're really down on the Saints, and we've seen, like, you've talked about the win total kind of ticking down over the preseason, but that Cardinals line just keeps going up and up and up and up. I don't bet on Saints games, covering the team. I don't think that's appropriate. I won't do that, but I will say that if it ever got to 7, that's where I would theoretically be interested. I mean, I don't think the Cardinals are going to be fine. They're not a bad team, but I don't know that they're a team that should be laying a touchdown on the road. In the Dome. And look, people realize this team probably won't be great, but I think the Dome's going to be pretty excitable in that opener. I mean, I think they're going to be into it for the new coach, for the new quarterback. And I think that, Arizona may be walking into a little bit of a snake pit, and I think they'll win the game, but I don't know that I would be laying a touchdown.
Yeah, we'll get into that more next week, probably, as we begin next week in earnest. It'll be you, it'll be me, it'll be Gabe, it'll be UBN will be with us at some point, and we'll be giving our picks. She'll be on to do a Saints preview. We'll probably throw in some NFL picks along the way and have some fun with it. But our first real preview next week. We never got a chance to talk about the Rattler Shuck thing. It happened after since the last time we've talked. But just your whole thoughts on the decision to start Spencer Rattler. I don't think it's really a big surprise in the grand scheme of things. I love the squirrels coming out of the woodwork telling me how wrong I was. But basically, what I've said was it wouldn't surprise me if Rattler started. Now I will say I will be wrong if Rattler is still starting in week 5. Then I have to say I'm wrong, because I said if Rattler starts, then Shuck will get the job by week 5. But I hope I'm wrong, Zach. I hope this is fun. I hope Rattler seizes his opportunity, and I hope he makes this thing fun and surprises people.
What is so hard about saying that we're wrong? I mean, I thought Shuck might start too, and was I convinced? Was every bone in my body headed? No, but if I had to have chosen, I would have chosen Shuck, and I was wrong. So I think you were too. Like, you thought it would be Shuck. None of us said it was 100%, but we were wrong. And that's, I think part of that is credit to Spencer Rattler. Like, I do think he's played better in camp than I expected him to. He has clearly left last season behind him. He's not letting the fact that he went 0-6 affect him. Those are all good things. I also think it's partly a little bit worrisome. Like, ideally, if Tyler Shuck was the guy the Saints wanted, and we can, I don't know that we'll ever know whether they wanted him more than Jackson Dart, but they at least saw the two as close enough to where they were not willing to pay the price to go up and get Jackson Dart. And so I think you would have liked to see Shuck come in and just blow everybody away and be the starter and say, well, Spencer Rattler is now a thing of the past and he's the backup, and this is the Tyler Shuck era. And that didn't happen. But I think that's okay. I don't think that's a disaster. I mean, I do think what will really surprise me, as we've been saying, is if Tyler Shuck does not get a chance at some point this season. I don't know how early it will be. I know the first kind of pivot point for me is week 5, because we've talked ad nauseum about these first 4 games. And I don't think you want, like, we did our bold prediction show on the Saints Insider yesterday, which was a lot of fun. And Matt Paris had one of his bold predictions was that Shuck will come in week 3, and that will be. And I said, I don't know about bringing a rookie quarterback in to face Mike McDaniel
on the road,
Mike McDonald, excuse me, in that Seattle defense in one of the toughest places to play in the NFL, followed by a trip to Buffalo. Like, I don't know about all that.
Rattler would have to be really, really, really bad, I think, for that to happen.
But yeah, I think it's week 5, or it's maybe Rattler starts week 5, but then if he loses to the Giants, that's when you're like, okay, we can't have, if he can't even beat the Giants, what are we doing? Let's go. Maybe it's week 6. I saw that maybe it's week 10. I don't know. At some point, maybe it's after the bye. At some point, Shuck is going to get his chance.
Yeah. Ryan asked a really good question. Look, I think the fans are pretty much split down the middle. It's pretty close. I mean, we've seen all over X, and Rod did a poll, and a couple other groups did polls, and they were all so close. They were all so tight, 50-50. So I really think it's 50-50 on who wants who to start. But why is it, and I don't understand this, and I've never understood this, why do we think that the fans who are rooting for Spencer Rattler or rooted for him to get the job, why they have so much fervor in them, do we think?
I don't know. I mean, Spencer Rattler has a little bit of a personality. Like, I've been thinking about this a lot. He's kind of a fun player. Like, he runs around and he'll scramble and he'll use his legs and he'll show some emotion and things like that. So I could see wanting to root for a guy like that and hoping, hey, that would be fun if he won the job and he was good. But ultimately, like, if we hook these people up to a polygraph test and say, hey, would you rather go 5-12 with Spencer Rattler or 8-9 with Tyler Shuck? How many are really saying, and I'm just throwing those numbers out there. I don't know if that's not my prediction.
Quite a few.
But how many would say, sign me up for 5-12 because I want the rat?
There are quite a few, unfortunately.
That is silly to me.
Chad says they can't tell you either. It's silly. All right. Yeah, look, we're obviously going to spend. This isn't the end of this. I mean, Spencer Rattler's starting week 1, barring something crazy happening before the Arizona game a week from Sunday. It is, again, if you're a Saints fan, you're just silly if you're not rooting for even if you were rooting for Shuck. If you're not rooting for Rattler now, you're just silly. You're just crazy. You need to take a look at yourself. So we'll be talking about that more down the line, but I do want to get into something else. Again, with Saints getting before we get to our picks. Again, we are going to make our picks. We're going to make our Saints record prediction. We're going to make our picks for the 8 division winners in the NFL. Who's going to win the AFC? Who's going to win the NFC? And who's going to win the Super Bowl? That's coming up very shortly. But before we get to that, you didn't know this was coming, by the way. So I'm going to show this here.
There, we talk about Choppy Simmons.
Well, first of all, no. What did you think about the cuts? Was there any cuts that stood out to you?
Nothing that overtly surprised me, but I do think the Saints made a concerted effort to get younger. Like you're seeing when Clyde Edwards-Helaire gets cut, that's the most obvious example of that. But also Cedric Wilson moving to the practice squad. Couple of other positions where they really made an effort to say, let's get the young guys on this active roster and let's go see what we got with them, which was refreshing to me. I agree. The Saints for too long have resisted doing that because they see themselves as on the cusp of going to the playoffs and, hey, look, this division is gettable. And they finally just said, maybe the division's gettable, but we're going to find out with our young guys. And if it's not, then we'll be better served for 2026 and 2027. Cam Akers did not surprise me. Cam Akers has lost a lot of. The guy's had 2 Achilles injuries. Yeah. I unfortunately, I think injuries have kind of robbed him of his potential. I
was sort of surprised that Clyde Edwards-Helaire didn't make the team. However, he's really been just ineffective in his. I hate to say it, but just throughout his entire NFL career, he has not been effective at all. And I just.
When you're talking about,
like you said, the Saints are going younger, and they think they'd rather give the Velus Jones and Devin Neal, they'd rather give them a shot.
Yeah, and if you're RB3, what are you getting? 3 or 4 carries a game?
Yeah, probably.
So you want to just do you want to give those to Clyde Edwards-Helaire? If you're a team that's competing for every win, and those 3 or 4 carries are important, and every yard is important, and every win is important, then maybe yes. But if not, Devin Neal needs some game action. Let's go see, and maybe Devin Neal is just as good as Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Maybe he's even better. But we're not going to know until we throw him out there and find out. So it's 3 or 4 carries a game. It's not like he's going to go out there and now if there's injuries, that's a different story. But like it's not like he's going to go out there and play a starring role. But you may see. Do we see the potential in him that we liked when we drafted him, or are we not seeing that and we know that we need to move on next year?
And I think the Saints were only going to keep either Velus Jones or Dante Pettis, and I'm kind of surprised they didn't pick Pettis because I think Velus Jones would have made it to the practice squad. However, like you said, go young. It is kind of refreshing to see that if it's what they're going with the younger guy.
Yeah, and Velus Jones is an interesting guy. Like he can do a lot. Right. He can play running back. He can play receiver. He can obviously
return kicks. Right.
Kick return is maybe his biggest thing. He's honestly not that young. He's 28 years old. I think Pettis is 29. So that one may not be
I didn't
much of a huge movement, but he is kind of he's a little bit of a Swiss Army knife. I know that term is reserved for Taysom Hill around these parts, and I don't know that we're going to see Velus Jones throw any passes, but he is a guy you can use in a lot of different formations in a lot of different ways. And when he's on the field, the opposing defense has to account for him.
Yeah. And then I saved the one that I was looking forward to most last. I showed some of the comments in the stream. I've got a special clip for you, Zach Ewing. You didn't know was coming. It's 3 minutes and 12 seconds. It's a little bit long, but that's okay. My favorite cut, and I'm not being mean. I don't wish any ill will towards Isaiah Foskey, and I hope he gets a chance to play somewhere and that he's successful somewhere else. However, I mean, I've been saying since the first day he was picked that it was a ridiculous pick, and I have the receipt to show it. Are you ready for 3 minutes from our live show? What, 3 years ago?
Well, ready or not, here it comes.
Here it comes. That's not what I would pick Torrance, but I think they're going to go Darnell Washington. That's my prediction.
Okay, so we just got word of the pick. So again, spoiler alert. But
turn it off if you don't want to hear it. Turn it off.
In the NFL draft, the Saints will select a defensive end.
That is from insanely
Notre Dame,
bad.
Isaiah Foskey.
That is insanely bad.
The pick. But okay, Jim, you say that, but what do you know about Isaiah Foskey? How can you?
It's not the person. Okay, it's not the player. He might be the best player left available. This team needs to stop picking defense. They need offense. They don't understand that. You know, okay, last night was one thing. I get you need an interior defensive lineman. You have the outside covered, and you just picked a defensive end in the first round 3 years ago. You don't need defense. It's ridiculous. It's no different than picking Hendon Hooker here. I feel exactly the same way about picking.
That is ridiculous.
No, this is ridiculous. You're picking a defensive end when you don't need a defensive end. You're going to need a defensive end. You don't need one right now.
Defensive ends. You don't rotate quarterbacks. Totally different situation.
Yeah, you also rotate wide receivers, and you only have 3 of them. Okay? You need another tight end. You need guards. You have 2 of them. One of them's always hurt, and the other one sucks. It's not a tough thing here. I mean, I don't understand what's hard to understand about this.
Isaiah Foskey, a 6'5" edge rusher, 264 pounds.
I don't care. It doesn't matter.
You know, again, I get that it's not probably their top position of need. It's definitely not their top position of need.
It's not even the top 4.
You lost Marcus Davenport to free agency. You don't know what you're getting out of Peyton
Who was
Turner.
a bum.
Cam Jordan's getting older. Like I don't think it's certainly not a position where you don't need anybody.
Sure. I mean, sure. I mean, you need a kicker. Does that mean you should draft one here? No. I mean, this is a need for later. I mean, defensive end is something you pick later and next year, actually. I mean, I understand Cam Jordan is probably fairly close to being done, but you worry about that when you need it. I mean, this is a team that thinks they're going to contend not only for the division title, but try to make a move and get into the playoffs with a ridiculously easy schedule. So
I will say
you need to shore up what you need and try to make a run this year. And picking a guy that's going to rotate in and out, as you say, that's not something you pick now.
It's depth. I mean, somebody gets injured. Peyton Turner can't contribute again. It's depth.
I get it. You're trying to defend them, or at least be the contrarian. I'm not sure which one it is.
I would have taken an offensive lineman. I mean, to me,
I would have been fine with that.
There were plenty of good ones left, and they need offensive linemen as well. That's what
they need a guard way more. I mean, like 5 times more than they need a defensive end. I miss those days.
I do too. Okay, here's the thing. You were not really. You were not really like Isaiah Foskey is a terrible pick and he's not going to.
No, I actually said that later. I have to go back later and later Bayou Bet shows. And I don't have time to go digging through all of them, but later Bayou Bet shows, I started like really digging on Foskey.
You were down on the pick because of the.
Oh, it's definitely down for sure.
Here that we are 3 years later. Yeah, but 3 years later, it's like if Isaiah Foskey had turned into a second round type talent. And he led Notre Dame in sacks. I think it was like school record type sack season as a senior. If he had turned into anything at all, he'd be starting on this team, right? Like they need edge rushers right now. So I think to be like, I said this from the beginning, he's going to be a bust. You're blowing smoke up everybody's keister a little bit.
All right, now you're going to make me go find.
It was the position.
I'm going to have to spend this. I have to spend the holiday weekend now going to when I'm digging on Isaiah Foskey like a week or two later. You're going to make me dig through 2.5-year-old Bayou Bet shows.
You were down on the position.
There's another one, though. I'm telling you.
The funny thing is the other player we mentioned there is Darnell Washington, who's been a bust also. So, I mean, like,
and Hendon Hooker, who got cut.
Yeah, and Hendon Hooker. I think the other one, Osiris Torrance, is actually starting for the Bills.
Yeah, so he is.
He's maybe that's the one where, like, obviously, with hindsight, 3 years later, you like.
Well, that's what I said. That's what they should have picked, and I still
sit here and say, "Oh, they
that's
shouldn't
what
have
I said."
Picked a defensive end.
No, I said they should have picked. I said they should have picked Torrance.
Yeah, if they had picked a good defensive end, that would have been a perfectly fine pick. That's all I'm saying.
No, it wouldn't have been. They just picked Brissett right before. Let's transplant ourselves. You're just trying to be. Why are you always trying to be nice to them?
I'm not. No, I'm just.
I understand you're in a different position than I am. It's a lot easier for me. You actually have to see them all the time, and you have to be more neutral than I have to be because basically I'm a video columnist is basically what I am these days. So, but I can say they suck if they suck. I know it's harder for you. You have to be nicer, but you didn't then. You didn't have to be nicer then. You were still taking up for him.
I just don't think it's never that obvious the night of the draft. If we had known Isaiah Foskey wasn't going to be able to get on the field in 3 years, then sure. But we didn't know that.
Oh, boy. Anyway. All right. I thought you would enjoy that, but
it was fun to look back. Yeah, it
was entertaining. I got the interesting thing is I actually have people who don't usually tell me I'm right. I was right. So that was kind of cool in there. All right. Happy birthday to me. All right. Let's get into, again, by the way, as we get along, please subscribe to the Dattitude YouTube page. Give us a like. Also, the Saints Insiders. Zach is the Saints editor for the Times-Picayune and the Advocate and NOLA.com. And you can find the Saints Insiders. They have their own YouTube page. So we'd appreciate it if you go subscribe to them as well. It only takes a second. Give us a like while you're doing it. All right. I'm going to get into this. We're going to save our Saints record predictions for the very end. But we're going to start with, and we may have to move over so it doesn't cut off our faces, but I think we're okay. We're going to start off with our picks. Who are going to win the 8? We're going to have the 8 division winners. We're going to do that first. We're going to start in the AFC. Then after we give our 4 at a time, we'll do the AFC division winners. You'll go first. I'll go next. Then we'll do the NFC. We'll do the title games and our Super Bowl predictions. And a spoiler alert, they're not 100% the same, but they're very similar, and it's kind of scary. So we're going to start off. Now, I'm going to let you go and, tell me why you picked these 4. Your 4 division winners in the AFC, the Buffalo Bills, the Baltimore Ravens, the trendy Denver Broncos, and someone other than the Houston Texans, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Tell me about your 4 picks, Zach Ewing.
All right. I see Gabe scratching his head, and I'll get to that one. I'll save that one for last. Okay, Bills and Ravens, chalk. I think they're the best 2 teams in the NFL, at least 2 of the 3 best. I don't see anyone else in those divisions who can handle them. You could say the Bengals, but the Bengals are pretty one-dimensional, and the Ravens have generally handled them over the past few years. So I think those are pretty easy. I don't want to pick all chalk. Denver, are they better than Kansas City? Are they ready to supplant the Chiefs? Maybe not. But I think they're close. And people, the last time they played them last year, the Chiefs were resting starters. Denver won easily. Okay, fine. But the first time they played, Denver should have won that game in Kansas City. And Sean Payton's got his eyes on the Chiefs. He's got his eyes on the prize. And I think they surprise some people and get it done. I don't think they're that much worse than Kansas City. They have an easier schedule. And again, you don't want to pick all chalk. And that's what it comes to. The AFC South to me is the hardest division to pick. I actually think you can make an argument for all 4 teams. And Houston has the best team, but I don't think it's by a lot. Houston's offensive line is a freaking wreck. And you start to look around and you go, well, who could do it? I also read something, I think it was from The Athletic, that was talking about turnaround teams and how there's almost always a worst to first team or a team that picks in the top 8 of the draft, is what they said, who then wins their division the next year. Last year was actually the first time in like 15 years that had not happened. And they're laying out the criteria for what you need. And it's a new coach. It's an impact draft player. It's maybe a return to health for some guys. And the 2 teams that actually checked the box were both in the AFC South, was Jacksonville and Tennessee. I could see Tennessee winning this division. I could see Houston certainly winning the division. Indy, I'm a little less certain on, but I went with Jacksonville just to kind of be different. I think we're in the playoffs, 2 years ago? I mean, it's not like a crazy pick.
Playoffs? Okay. Well, Gabe says that Trevor Lawrence is Daniel Jones with long hair.
Daniel Jones has made the playoffs. So is Trevor Lawrence.
All right, well, I'll give him. We're gonna
DJ
break.
Travis is Daniel Jones with dreads.
Yeah, Chad wants us to bring Gabe in and have a 3-box. We will have a 3-box at some point on a Friday this season, but not today because I got these graphics and it doesn't really allow for 3 boxes. But I'm going to figure out how to do this. I did this on the fly, by the way. All right, it's time for my picks. And look, I don't want to be chalky either, but it is what it is. I got to pick who I think is going to win, and I think it's going to be the 4 teams that everyone else thinks is going to win. The Bills, the Ravens, I agree with Zach. They probably are the 2 best teams in the NFL, or at least 2 of the 3 or 4 best teams in the NFL. I ain't picking against Kansas City in this division until they prove me wrong. I don't think they're as good as they've been. Spoiler alert, I don't think they're going to the Super Bowl. However, it's hard to pick against Mahomes right now. And then the Texans. I agree with a lot of what you said. I completely disagree. I think Jacksonville is awful. I think they're going to be awful. I think everyone in that division besides Houston is going to be awful. I think Houston probably wins, I don't know, I'm going to say 10 games. And I think the rest of them all win 6 or fewer. All 3 of them. I think Houston's going to run away with this division, whether it be by default or whatever. I think Trevor Lawrence is just not a good quarterback. It is what it is. That's really the only one main disagreement with you.
The Jaguars have way more offensive firepower than Houston. Now, Houston's got a much better defense. Those games will be fascinating, actually, because it's kind of strength on strength, weakness on weakness.
Yeah.
So
we'll see.
Those will be fascinating.
I'm not a fan of Duval. I mean, Liam Cohen.
You know your picks there, the Bills, Ravens, Texans, Chiefs.
Yeah, I don't usually go all chalk, but I had to.
Those have been the division winners in the AFC for each of the past 2 years.
I hate that.
Do you know the last time a conference had the same division winners 3 years in a row?
2009.
I can tell you don't. It never happened.
Never happened.
I'm not saying it can't, but that would be kind of shocking.
Do I expect to get all 4? No. I mean, let's be realistic. Because I hate picking chalk. I just think it's clear and obvious. I think if I had to switch one, I would switch out the Chiefs, but not with the Broncos. I'd switch them with the Chargers. And I just don't think that's going to happen. Or maybe I think the Ravens and Bengals going to be in a dogfight. So maybe the Bengals, but I don't know. I'm not switching it. I'm sticking with it is. All right, moving on to the NFC. So we're not here until 3:00 in the afternoon. Zach Ewing, you have the Super Bowl champion Eagles. You've got the LA Rams in the NFC West. You've got the Green Bay Packers. And in the NFC South, you got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, this turned out a little more chalky because Green Bay is actually favored now after the Micah Parsons trade, but I had picked them before that. And I'm actually disappointed because I told you for your birthday, I was going to give you a $1 parlay ticket with all 8 of my division winners. I was going to pay $770-something. And I haven't actually bet it yet. And then the Micah Parsons thing happens, and now it's going to pay less. So I'm sorry for that. But when I'm right, 8 for 8, you'll still be getting like a $500 check in the mail.
I'm cool with that.
I think the NFC East, speaking of repeat champions, is like the famous division that hasn't had a repeat champion since like 03, 04, I think.
Yeah,
but that streak has to come to an end at some point. The Commanders are the obvious other choice there. But the Commanders, while I think they're a playoff team, I don't know. They've got this schedule where they have like 7 standalone games. They've got a bunch of Monday nights and international games and all these. I worry about
that in short.
going up against something like that, kind of, stepping into the spotlight after surprising everybody last year. I still think they're good. I think it takes 12, 13 wins to win this division. I don't know that they're going to be that good. So I went Philly. Love the Packers. I think Jordan Love is ready to turn into a star. I think that they are the most well-balanced team in that division. And I think the Lions, again, while they'll be good without your offensive and defensive coordinators, look what happened to Philadelphia the year after it made the Super Bowl 2 years ago. They lost Shane Steichen and blanking on their defensive coordinator that year. But was it Fangio, and then they brought him back?
No, it's the Arizona.
Oh, it was Rich Gannon. Rich Gannon, Arizona. So they lost. Rich Gannon's a quarterback. Sorry, Rich Gannon. They lost both of their coordinators, and they took a big step back the next year. And so I could see that happening with Detroit as well. So I'm going Green Bay. Tampa Bay, I think. Look, everybody tries to talk themselves into Atlanta every year. I'm sorry, it ain't happening. Especially with their offensive line injuries already having a tackle out for the season. Like, we think the Saints have it bad on the O-line. I'm out on the Falcons. Panthers aren't ready yet. Saints clearly aren't there yet. This one, besides Bills, and actually maybe even besides just Bills, this may be the easiest call of all for me, is Tampa Bay. And then the Rams, this is a little bit of a risky pick. Matthew Stafford's got to stay healthy. But I just think that if he does, they're the best team in that division.
Yeah, they have the best coach. But I just they're going to have an issue because I just don't think Stafford's going to make it through the season. I really don't. He's already kind of banged up. He probably will play in week 1, but he's banged up for sure. We talk about that in the shorts. Well, I hate to be boring, but I mean, I have 3 of the same 4 you have. The only difference is I think the Niners are ready. I think whether or not Christian McCaffrey stays healthy or not, I mean, I think he's going to. He's like kind of an every other year kind of guy. I can't pick against the Niners. I just think they're going to win this division.
Jim, did you really just pick the favorite in all 8 divisions? I think you have to.
And I hate, look, that's so unlike me. It really is so unlike me. But that's what I'm picking. It is what it is. I mean, I'll probably mix and match and do some parlays like you're doing. I hate it, but I'm not just going to pick something for the sake of picking. I like you. I had picked Green Bay long before this Micah Parsons trade was made. So I'm the same. I'm the same way. And I don't know that Green Bay is the favorite. I think Detroit's still the favorite.
Green Bay is now the favorite. Yeah.
Are they the favorite now? Okay.
They're DraftKings plus 165, Lions plus 190. So
maybe I won't be as chalky in my title game and Super Bowl picks. We'll see. But anyway, I agree with most of what you said. I disagree on the Commanders. I think they take a step back. I think they're like I actually think they're going to have a losing record. I said this in my show.
Wild cards in the NFC.
My wild cards, I think Detroit's an obvious wild card. I think they have to be a wild card. I think I hate going with the Bears suck. I mean, but they have a chance to be like the 7th team, the Bears. And I don't know who my other team is yet. It's gonna be somebody we're not talking about. Like, I don't want to say it. I kind of agree with you on Atlanta, but I think it could be Atlanta. I think Atlanta could be a wild card team, but I think like 9-8 is going to be good enough to be a wild card. Maybe even a stinky 8-9 team might make the thing as a wild card. If these 4 teams are as good as I think they are, because I think all 4 of them are going to be very good, I think you might have an 8-9 wild card team. So we'll see. I don't think that's going to matter.
I mean, I'm going Detroit, Washington, San Francisco for the wild cards. That, to me, those are pretty easy.
I could see the Rams making it as a wild card. That's also a possibility. So I'm going to go wild cards. I'm going to say Rams, Atlanta, and Detroit. Not that order. I think Detroit's clearly the best wild card. So I don't think Minnesota and the Bears are any good, but one of them could sneak in. We'll see. All right,
take Minnesota.
Moving on.
Bears.
All right. I don't trust in JJ McCarthy at all. We'll see. AFC title game. You want to talk about chalk? Bills versus Ravens. Boo.
I got no Chiefs. The Chiefs have been in the AFC title game for like 8 straight years, so it can't be chalk to not have them in there.
Gabe says you can't bet against God. Just saying.
I did it in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
worked out okay.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah,
but that was a rare occasion.
It's
Earl
interesting.
Says 3 teams will not make the playoffs in the NFC North.
It's interesting to me. Buffalo and Baltimore both kind of have similar narratives where they have these MVP quarterbacks who show flashes of just absolute brilliance, even in the playoffs, but then ultimately have run into Mahomes and not been able to get it done. So one of them has to get it done. I just think if you look at the rosters around them, they just have stronger rosters than Kansas City. Kansas City is going to be there. If I am correct and Denver wins the division, that changes things because then Kansas City can't play in Arrowhead the whole playoffs. And that makes a big difference.
Yeah. By the way, I also, spoiler alert, because I just put the champ on there for Super Bowl. I have them in the order that you have the Ravens beating the Bills, by the way. You think Lamar Jackson's going to make it to the Super Bowl?
I went back and forth on that one. I could see it either way, but I went Ravens.
Okay. We got some other comment. One comment I wanted to show. Where was it? There was Rocky. You can't hate on Atlanta just because you hate on Atlanta. We call it like it is here. I think Atlanta's decent. I don't think they're great.
Okay, decent. They go 7-10.
Oh, that's not decent. That sucks.
Maybe 8-9, but they're not going to make the playoffs.
My title game in the AFC is not necessarily. We got one chalk and one not chalk. I got Ravens over Bengals in the AFC title game. And, I said this the other day. I'm backtracking on, and my son will probably give me crap for it. I have said for years the Ravens will never win anything with Lamar Jackson as their quarterback. I've changed my mind. After what I saw last year in the playoffs, I think he's turned a corner. It certainly wasn't his fault that they didn't go to the Super Bowl. He played his ass off, I thought, and he led that team back. And I think he's actually ready to take the next step. I also, who was it that said something about Joey B? Here it is. Anthony B. Saints says, Bills won't make it. Josh is a known choke artist. Joey B. is going to the championship game. I think the Bengals win in Buffalo in the divisional round. And here we are again talking about Josh Allen. I like Lamar. I like Joey B. I think that would be one hell of a fun title game as they would face off for the third time this year.
You have the Bengals defense shutting down that Buffalo offense in that game?
No, it's going to be like 44-40.
Okay.
Breaking news. Gabe Henderson says Jabril Peppers just got cut by the Patriots. Huge news. S. Callie doesn't like that I picked the Falcons. It doesn't mean that. I mean, I might not like it, but I think they're going to happen. S. Callie says Green Bay. Earl's not being nice to Michael Penix, but it's just, y'all are just haters out there. Anyway. All right, let's move on to the NFC. Your NFC title game, Zach Ewing. Green Bay Packers. Again, we made these picks before Micah Parsons got traded. Green Bay Packers over last year's champ, the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, look, last year, Philly won the Super Bowl, and everybody kind of looks at it as this dominant run because of what they did in the NFC Championship game and in the Super Bowl. But their first two playoff rounds were actually a little bit nervy. I mean, now the Rams darn near came back and beat them in the divisional round. But if you think back to that wild card game and the Eagles, the score, the Eagles ended up winning by, I think, 13 points. Like it wasn't, it wasn't a really close game. But the very first play of that game, the Packers fumbled the opening kickoff. And
booming going on there in Livingston, Louisiana.
If I cut out, you know why. The Packers fumbled the opening kickoff. The Eagles scored an easy touchdown 2 or 3 plays later. And when the Eagles can play from ahead, they're a different team, with Saquon, with Jalen Hurts. We know that. Okay. I think that if the Packers get them in a kind of a fair fight, also think back to the Brazil game last year. Those two, the Packers probably should have won that game. They didn't.
Yeah. That stupid ass field. I hope they fix that.
They outplayed them. Love kind of got hurt at the end. I think the Packers are a very well-rounded team. I'm going back to the Super Bowl after a good long break.
All right. Well, you know what? I can't argue with you on it because I pretty much agree with you. Except my game is a little bit different. It used to remember they used to call the Bay of Pigs. Chris Berman used to call when Green Bay when they were in the same division. You're too young to remember that, but Chris Berman used to call this game the Bay of Pigs. Green Bay versus Tampa Bay in the title game. I think people are just completely underrating Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay, look, if their defense is just a little bit better, I don't rule out, and you heard it here, I don't rule out at all the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but potentially going to the Super Bowl. And I think this would be a really fun title game. But I like Green Bay just a little bit more. I'm with you. I think Jordan Love takes the next step. I think they have tons of offensive weapons. I'm a huge Matt LaFleur fan. I always have been. And now their defense, and they got Micah Parsons. I mean, again, I made this pick already before that, but it only reinforces it. Give me Green Bay over Tampa Bay. And again, I'm not shocked if Tampa Bay wins that game. Not picking it, but I wouldn't be shocked if it happens.
Yeah. The only thing that holds me back on Tampa Bay as a top-level Super Bowl contender is that you're now in your third OC in 3 years.
Yeah.
That worries me a little bit. Like, can you strike lightning again?
Yeah, I don't disagree.
Like you did with Dave Canales, like you did with Liam Cohen. Can you find another guy? Todd Bowles is obviously adept at picking the right guys for that spot, but you've got to do it again. That guy has to work well with Baker Mayfield, who like suddenly has become a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. I don't know how that happened. Especially if they've got to go on the road in the playoffs, Tampa Bay going to Philly or to Green Bay or something, I think that would be the end of that run. But I could see what you're saying here.
Well, that would be a fun an ice bowl game with Tampa Bay in it. All right, Super Bowl. Your Super Bowl 60 champion is the Baltimore Ravens. You got Lamar Jackson finally winning it, and people will have to shut their mouths. People, dumbasses like me, will have to shut up if you are correct, Lamar Jackson wins the Super Bowl.
I mean, tell me the weakness on the Ravens. I don't, other than they just haven't gotten it done in the playoffs. I don't know what the weakness is. I think they're good everywhere.
Mark Andrews' hands.
Tremendous running game. I mean, like they don't have the number one star receiver who's.
What about the defensive front?
A highlight reel, but they've got several solid receivers. They've got
Gabe
depth.
Says their wide receivers are
maybe. I mean, but they've got
Zay Flowers is wide receiver one.
They just don't have necessarily the wide receiver one. But when you combine that with the threat of Lamar running, like I think that takes, and the fact that he's got 4 or 5 good targets, I think you've got a legit passing offense. And defense. I mean, come on, their defense stacked everywhere.
I'm not going to argue with you. I mean, I got them going to the Super Bowl, so I can't argue with you.
Can they get it done in the playoffs? That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, look, I'm not dissing on Lamar anymore. He's going to find a way. And besides the fact that he's my keeper quarterback in my fantasy league, so go Lamar Jackson. I'm definitely rooting for him. All right, my Super Bowl winner is the Green Bay Packers. I'm not doing it. I mean, we were talking yesterday. I went back and forth on this one multiple times. Not going to surprise me at all if Baltimore wins. I got to be honest. I like all 4 of the teams that I picked in my title games. I mean, I almost wanted to take a flyer and pick the Bucks and then pick them to win the championship. And I don't know what are their odds right now? Like plus 2,500, something like that. I got to look that up. Tampa Bay. He's going to look it up. I wouldn't be surprised at all if I might put some futures money on Tampa Bay, but I'm going to pick the Green Bay Packers again. Like everything I said, I'm just a huge Jordan Love fan. I'm a huge LaFleur fan. I think they take a step forward. And with that being said, I'm sure Detroit will win it now because none of us are even talking about Detroit. But David says
they were everybody's favorite last year, and now nobody wants to pick them.
David says I won't agree, but he has always said that Love is overrated. We shall see. I'm still pissed that the Saints didn't draft Love when they had a chance to. Wow, Gabe says they're plus 3,400 to win. That's, you got to admit, that's worth a couple bucks on the Bucks. 3,400.
I spent too much money on futures already, man. I think I'm done.
Gabe drove to Lake Charles so he can make his bets the other day. So yeah, I know he's done. All right, real quick and I say real quick, we don't ever do anything real quick on this show. Dang it, I didn't make a. Yeah, I did. First off, real quick, and I know you're also helping out with the LSU shows. Our LSU peeps have their own YouTube page as well. This line has moved to 4. Zach Ewing is now LSU is getting 4 going to the fake Death Valley tomorrow night. First of all, who do you like in the game?
I picked LSU. Now, I admit I partially did that because everybody else on the LSU Insider picked Clemson, and I did not feel like it was a game that deserved a clean sweep of picks. It's going to be a tight game. It's going to be a tough game. But I also think people, speaking of overrating, like Clemson's very good. Don't get me wrong. Okay, but the reason people say they're good is because, well, look, they were a playoff team last year, and they bring back this, and they added that, and they've got Cade Klubnik. And all that is true. But they were a playoff team last year only because of this ultra dramatic upset of SMU in the ACC championship game where they hit like a 57-yard field goal to win it at the end. And, then they get to the playoff and Texas kind of dismisses them. They're a good team. Don't get me wrong. It wouldn't surprise me to see Clemson win. Clemson did not beat anyone last year that is as good as this year's LSU team, I think. Unless LSU is just the O-line is the one question mark for LSU. I'm with Charles. I got 31-28 LSU. I think if you're Brian Kelly and you have publicly stated how much money you've spent on this roster, $18 million, and you have publicly called it Death Valley Junior, and you have publicly said that you've got the Clemson
back it up.
all over your weight room and all over the team facility, unless you've just got a screw loose, you must think pretty, man, maybe he does, but yeah, you think pretty positive things about this game. I think LSU finally ends that season opening draft.
By the way, real quick, Anthony, Gabe, he can't see your comment because he's on Facebook. Tampa, he says Tampa's 2,700 to win the Super Bowl. That is dependent on where you shop. And the best odds, sportsbookreview.com. Gabe found the best odds, and they are plus 3,400. He did not tell me what book that is, but we'll ask him when he comes on. Real quick, before I get your Final Four college football picks, ESPN bet, by the way, they're plus 3,400. Earl's pick says Ohio State beats Texas. Who you got in that one? Tough one.
Ohio State, but I'm really not sure. Not betting that one.
I'm not betting
that one's hard to call.
All right, I'm putting you on the spot. I only got a couple minutes left. Your Final Four in college football, or just give me your championship game and tell me who's going to win it all.
I will go with my Final Four will be Texas, Alabama, Penn State, and Notre Dame. And
Notre Dame. Wow.
Alabama over Notre Dame in the championship game.
Wow. Okay. Alabama over Notre Dame. If that happens, I will vomit live on this show.
Look,
I
Alabama,
hate both of those teams.
You want to talk about a team that brings everything back. They've got like 16 returning starters.
2012, Gabe says. Boo.
Except Notre Dame will put up a better fight than they did in 2012.
Well,
the only question mark for Alabama is the quarterback. The only question mark. And granted, that's a big question mark. But Ty Simpson was a 5-star recruit. Ty Simpson has been in the Alabama system for 5 years, and Kalen DeBoer has coached up quarterbacks everywhere he has gone. You know who made Jake Haener into a good college quarterback? It was Kalen DeBoer. Okay. Fresno State.
Jake Haener's a good quarterback. He's a good model.
He was a good college quarterback when he was being coached by Kalen DeBoer. So I am going to go with those. Now? I'm going to go with Alabama as my national champion.
Okay. Well, you heard it here first in the Dattitude podcast presented by Evangeline Securities on this Friday morning. Zach Ewing is going. Well, I can't tell you yet because that'd be given. I got to save something for Gabe, but I'll text it to you.
All right.
Anyway, we've been pretty similar on a lot of things, but enjoy your weekend. Sort of extended weekend. We don't really have extended weekends. I'm semi taking Monday off. You are probably not taking Monday off at all, I'm guessing.
Saints practice, so I'll be busy Monday, and we have season preview stuff rolling in at NOLA.com. I got to work the LSU game tomorrow night. But Sunday, my boys, I had one boy turn 13 last week. The other one turns 10 next month. And so we're doing a little combo birthday party. I'm going paintballing on Sunday. So
maybe you could take Gabe with you too. It's his birthday. He likes paintball. It's his birthday on.
Happy birthday to Gabe on Sunday.
You know what? Let's just practice the 3 box. Let's get your mic ready real quick. Just there's the 3 box. You can.
It works.
Gabe, you like paintball?
It's okay. Haven't been in a while.
Well, there you go.
Last time I went, my best friend had just gotten out of the Army, And so he scared everyone by telling them that he was Army trained.
That's actually kind of funny. All right, Zach, we will enjoy what you have over your holiday weekend, and we will see you on next Friday when we have real preview and UBN's here too. Then it's going to be all kinds of fun making our picks.
All right, guys, can't wait.
All right, see you later. All right, it's happy birthday to Gabe. There you go.
Thank you. Well, I was gonna come on and say, Jim, first off, happy birthday to you, and second off,
thank you.
Birthday present to you will be not disagreeing with you a ton during this show. I don't.
Corey says Zach's full of it. I'm not sure what he thinks Zach is full of and why. What is he? Is he full of that? He's going
Alabama.
Oh
no, I don't think Zach's crazy for that.
Daryl says, happy birthday. What is your choice for dinner? Well, your birthday is actually Sunday, but what is your girlfriend going to do for you? Do you know?
I don't know. I don't really have anything planned beyond tomorrow. I told her my one birthday wish for the weekend
is that LSU wins.
I mean, yeah, I would love that. That'd be a great present. I want to sit uninterrupted tomorrow and watch college football.
Yeah, and probably ain't going to happen for me. In fact, I know it's not going to happen because I'm actually going to spend the first half of the day working. I shouldn't, but I'm going to be working. All right, let's get into our pick. Well, you know what? Before we get into our picks, a couple things. First off, I'm going to go back to my main slide here, and let's do our – I forgot to get Zach's I got to text Zach. I forgot to get Zach's – well, I'll ask him next week. Okay. Our Saints final records. Now, we did real quick – if you missed me saying this earlier and you missed me in previous shows, the way I did my NFL team-by-team previews this year, 4th year in a row I've done them. The way that I did them this year is did them as shorts on YouTube and our TikTok page. Team by team, finished them this morning with the New Orleans Saints, was number 32 of 32. This entire week I did the AFC South. So far, before this week, we had done 24 of 32, the 6 divisions that aren't the South. And I think we'd only disagreed on, what was it, like 6? We'd only disagreed on?
I believe we disagreed on 2 each week. So, yeah, we're up to 6.
6. All right, so tell me, how many did we disagree on this week? And you can go back and find them all. Basically, I did unders on everybody in the AFC South except for the Texans. I think they're going to go over 9.5. And in the South, I picked, if I remember this correctly, I picked over Tampa Bay 9.5. I picked over Atlanta 7.5. I picked under Panthers 6.5, and I picked under Saints 4.5. We'll get to that in a second. But of all of those, how many did you disagree with?
1.
And I know which one it is.
Yes, you do.
You are in love. You love some Tennessee Titans, and I don't
despise the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, well,
I hate them. Sorry ass franchise.
Oh, you're high on them.
But
yeah, sorry.
No, I'm not high on them. I think they win 7 games. That's it. I think Jacksonville and Tennessee.
They have a stretch where they play 4 out of 5 on the road early, which I think is going to screw them.
Oh, I think their early schedule is brutal, but I think they can take both from Indianapolis, and I think they can steal 1 from Jacksonville. And if they do that, they have some winnable games.
Yeah. We'll see. Nathan says, happy birthday.
Thank you.
S. Callie is vomiting. I'm not sure why. She apologized. Happy birthday. Okay. All right. Well, I'm not going to get into the entire NFC South here. Not right now. I already kind of did anyway. I think Tampa Bay is clearly the best team in the NFC South, and I think Houston's clearly the best team in the AFC South. I think we both agree with that. Let's give a final Saints prediction. I've already kind of spoiler alerted mine, but what is your final prediction on Saints record this year? And we're being realistic, by the way. You're not a Saints fan. No, I'm not trying to be a Saints fan. I'm trying to be realistic, and I'm a show host.
I'm not.
I'm a podcast host, and Gabe doesn't give a rat's ass about the Saints. So we're being realistic about what we think this record's going to be, and I've already lost people. I've seen the number go down, but whatever.
I think I know what yours is. I think we might agree.
Okay,
I'm going to go 4-13.
Okay. We do agree. That's exactly what I think the Saints are going to be this year, 4-13. I think they start 0-4. I think they start 0-4. I think the change is made at quarterback then. This is not what I'm rooting for, people. He's rooting against Spencer Rattler. No, he's not rooting against Spencer Rattler. I'm telling you what I think is going to happen. What I think is going to happen is the Saints are going to start 0-4, and I think they would have started 0-4. Tyler Shuck would have started too. Either way, it's not because of the quarterback. It's because, well, it is because of the quarterback, because they don't have one.
Yeah.
Okay. They don't have a quarterback. Neither one of them, I don't think, are going to be any good. But my prediction is, and I hope I'm wrong, I hope I can have egg on my face. I hope I can say I'm wrong after week 4's game against the Buffalo Bills, and that they're not 0-4, and that Spencer Rattler is still the quarterback. I hope that happens, but I just don't see it. I think they're 0-4. I think they really they might be, if they start 0-6, it's going to be miserable. I mean, if they don't beat the Giants or the Patriots in that second home stand, Giants and Patriots in week 5 and 6, they lose both of those and start 0-6. Oh, I'm not saying they're going to do that, but man, God, that would be miserable.
You want to know something, Jim? I think they lose both of those games. I think they lose to the Giants and the Patriots, but
I don't think I think they're going to win one of them.
They're going to win. I think they're going to win 1 or 6, and I think their best chance to win one of those first 6 might be this first game.
They're 6.5-point underdogs.
Yeah,
I mean that's not saying that's end all be all.
Earlier,
I just don't. They can't stop. They haven't stopped the mobile quarterback when they were good. So that they just don't match up well against Kyler Murray. They've beaten Kyler Murray before, but they just don't match up well with Kyler Murray, and I don't think they match up well with him here. So anyway,
I agree. I don't know if they do win that game, but I agree with Zach in saying I think it's their best chance to win the game. I think, like he said, the Dome's going to be absolutely rocking.
It will be.
I don't know. I like
rocking.
Arizona. I do like Arizona. I just don't.
I picked Arizona over. I think they're going to be better.
Yeah, where my struggle is I have repeatedly said that I think the Giants are going to be better than everyone expects. So I cannot, in good conscience, sit here and say that I think the Saints are going to beat them.
I think the Giants are a dumpster fire, but that's just me.
I think they're going to be better than people expect. I just think the record's going to be terrible because they have a really hard schedule.
Earl's pick says Blake Groupie will be the highest scoring Saint this year. Well, the kicker usually is. So, I mean, that's not a hot take. That's not a hot take. The kicker usually is the highest scoring player on the team. David Hash to go 0-5, put Chuck in the rest of the year, and then you know if you need a top quarterback.
I don't think you have to wait that long. Yeah. I think I'll echo what you and Zach said earlier. If they start 0-4, Chuck is starting game 5.
If they start 0-4, I just don't.
You don't get an easier first game than the New York Giants at home unless you wait until, I don't know, what is it, week 14 when you play the Jets?
Yeah, week 14 or 15. I don't know one of those.
I know it's late.
No, it's let's see, 18, 17, it's 16. It's actually week 16 when they play the Jets.
And they're not going to wait.
It's the last home game of the year.
16 to put Tyler Shuck.
They're definitely not going to wait until week 16.
So you go with the next best,
unless they're like actually decent, which is then we're all wrong. I still think, and again, this will piss people off. The Rattler lovers have already kind of tuned me out anyway. They're probably going to really who dat daddy's like the last one standing right now, and I love you for it, by the way. I think that the reason why Kellen Moore is going with Spencer Rattler is not because he's the best quarterback, and not because he gives him the best chance to win a game. I think he's going with him because it just makes for an easier. Don't put in Tyler Shuck and let him go 0-4. You let Spencer Rattler go 0-10. Again, not what I'm hoping happens, people. This isn't what I hope happens. Before you get all pissy, it's what I think is going to happen, and it's why I think Kellen Moore picked Spencer Rattler, and then he can make the change easier. And look, Spencer Rattler goes 2-2 or plays well and they go 1-3, and then he's got a tough decision to make. Great. Chad says the wins for him are Jets, Pats, Panthers, Falcons. I think they find a way to. They always find a way to.
Patriots.
I don't think
there's any way they beat the Patriots.
Okay, well, I think the Patriots aren't nearly as good as you think they are, or anyone else for that matter. I still don't think that. I love Mike Vrabel. Don't get me wrong.
I think they're an 8-win team.
I don't think they're an 8-win team at all. I think they're like a 5 or 6-win team. So that's just my opinion. All right. Anyway, let's move on. I wanted to get to the college football portion of this show again. Rocky, great show. Thank you. Does that mean you're leaving? I'm not going to talk bad about Saints anymore. I promise. I'm not. Who that daddy's not going anywhere. A lot of love in this room today. I appreciate the love. All right, let's go to, before we get to our college football picks for the Final Four and the championship, I want to ask you real quick, did Boise's loss, and again, I know it's way too early in the grand scheme of things, but Boise's loss, and I did not look at the odds this morning, but Tulane was second in the non-power conference odds. Does this open a door for them?
I don't think Boise was ever going to be a playoff team this year.
It's not what I asked you.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't change a damn thing for Tulane.
Okay.
Because here's the thing. If Tulane if it takes care of business and does what it needs to do, they have a good enough resume as a power conference winner to get in.
Okay.
That's what I'll say. Only rivaled by, and I actually took a flyer on this one, and I believe like plus 1,400, Toledo. I think Toledo is easily the best team in the MAC, and they've got a game this weekend against Kentucky. The spread opened up at 14.5, and it's down to 7.5, I believe. So
FYI, odds now currently have changed. I'm using DraftKings, by the way. Tulane is now the highest Power 5 team in the odds to make the college football playoff.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
They have moved to, they were plus 800, I believe. They're plus 750, which is not that high. Not that it didn't change much. Memphis plus 800. Navy is plus 900. They were plus 1,000 before. Liberty is plus 1,000. James Madison is plus 1,000. BYU plus 1,000. Actually, they're in a conference, real conference.
They're in the Big 12.
Yeah. Army is plus 1,200. And where's Boise now? I mean, they dropped. I can't even find them.
If you want a good value flyer, UTSA.
They're not even in there now. Boise actually went from plus 150 to out of the odds altogether. So it
looked horrendous. Yeah. I mean, you can't put up a performance like that.
Anyway,
you just can't.
I agree. And David, you're absolutely right. Boise looked real bad. Real quick, your pick on Tulane Northwestern. This line has changed. It was 5.5 on Wednesday. It's been 5.5. It has dropped. People are betting on Northwestern. They waived now just 4.5 point favorites at home tomorrow morning. I tell you what I like. I like the under. It's supposed to be raining tomorrow at Yulman Stadium. There's a story for you at sportsbookreview.com. I like the under. I think that this is going to be a nasty kind of game. I'm not touching the spread. I think Tulane wins, but it might be a close game. I think it's going to be like a 17-13 kind of game, but I'm going to take the wave.
Yeah, I'm taking the under. I don't think Northwestern can exactly light up a scoreboard. And I think Tulane is going to struggle to throw the ball. I think they're going to be conservative, keep it on the ground in the nasty weather. And I like the under. I agree.
All right. And then I think we're in agreement here. I'm surprised this line went up to 4. I really am. But LSU is now 4-point dog at Clemson. Spoiler alert. We both like LSU to win this game. I think that, look, it's put up or shut up time. I haven't changed my mind. I'm sure you haven't either. We've said this before. We both think LSU is going to win. And Brian Kelly tells everyone to shut the hell up.
Yeah, I love both of these teams, so this is a really tough pick for me. I went with my gut in the end, and my gut tells me LSU is going to win this game. It also told me last year, though, that USC was going to win, or that they were going to beat USC. So I don't know. It's a toss-up for me. I think this LSU offense is going to be the difference. I think if they can figure out how to run the ball this year, especially, with all of the opportunities that the explosive receivers open up out wide, I think this offense is going to be one of the best in the country. So if Garrett Nussmeier can take care of the football and LSU can get their run game going, I think they can easily win this game.
All right. Your season record total for the Tulane Green Wave. What record are you giving Tulane?
I believe I had them 9-3.
Okay. I'm going to go 10-2 with the Tulane Green Wave. I don't know if that's good enough to get them in the playoff. Probably not, because I do think that it probably wouldn't be. I think they can lose to Ole Miss, but I don't think they can lose to anyone else. I think they need to go 11-1, and the one has to be Ole Miss. That's my opinion on how Tulane can make the playoffs. So, but I think they're
they
going to fall
lose
just
to Ole
short and go
Miss.
10-2.
I think they could lose to Duke, although Duke didn't look great yesterday. And then I think they're always good for dropping one game in the American.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to drop a game in the American. We'll see.
Well, no.
Right.
Actually, no. I know my game. They go to UTSA, and I think UTSA wins that game.
Okay. All right. LSU's final record.
10-2.
Not counting any playoff or anything like that.
Yep.
Regular season. I also say 10-2. We'll see if that's good enough for them to make the playoff. I think they make the playoff. I know that you think they make the playoff as well. All right. No more spoiler alerts. Let's get to our picks. I'm going to start off with you. This is how we're going to do it. We're going to show you our final four. Then we're going to show you our championship game and show you our champion. Gabe goes first. His final four are pretty similar to Zach's. Not completely similar. Texas, Penn State, he's got the same, but he's got the LSU Fighting Tigers in there, and he's got the Clemson Fighting. You think both teams from tomorrow's game in the championship, in the semifinals, excuse me.
I wasn't lying when I told you I like both of these teams.
You weren't.
I'm
Daddy said it's time for Brian Kelly to poo-poo or get off the pot. So, anyway. All right. You give me your reasoning for everybody likes Texas. Talk about Penn State for a minute, because a lot of people, you're leaving Ohio State out. Ohio State has had an advantage over Penn State. People talking about, James Franklin can't win, just like Brian Kelly can't win. James Franklin can't win. He's had plenty of time. Why is he going to win now?
Do you know what their biggest offseason acquisition was, Jim?
Kickoff returner. No, I have no idea.
I
really don't.
They poached Jim Knowles, the defensive coordinator of Ohio State.
See, I didn't realize that. No.
And that means Ohio State now has to replace both of its coordinators, which we've seen how that's gone in the past. I think Ohio State is still a playoff team. I just don't think when you get down to these big games, I can't see Ohio State doing enough with Julian Sayin at quarterback in year one to get back to the semis. I think they will be eliminated by one of these four teams in the quarterfinals. But I like Penn State. I mean, Drew Aller, I like him to take a step. I think their receiving core has gotten better. It ended up costing them last year because they were so piss poor against Notre Dame. But they returned their dual-headed monster at running back in Singletary and Allen. I think both of them are fantastic. I think they've got a very navigatable schedule. And other than Abdul Carter, they return a ton of their production on defense. And I know it's not easy to say, other than their first-round pick, their top 5 pick. But Penn State's got a lot of talent. They've got a lot of blue-chip prospects. I really like them this year. I really do. I think this is the year. James Franklin has gone all in this year to win with this team. So,
yeah, I was a huge fan of James Franklin, who was at Vanderbilt, and had high hopes for him. And it just kind of, don't get me wrong. I mean, Penn State's been good. They just haven't been great. I was
listening to a show the other day, and they called Penn State the most consistent team in the country. They win the games they're supposed to.
That's true.
And they lose the games they're supposed to. You know what you're going to get out of Penn State.
That's true.
There's the one time, you can look at LSU. LSU was that way for much of the 2010s, but then 2019 happened. I think this year, I'm not going to say it's going to be as good a season from Penn State, because I still think they drop a game or two. But I think this is Penn State's year.
David wants to know if we think, I guess me, you, whoever thinks LSU beats Clemson, what 2 losses do I see? Here are my predictions for LSU's losses this year. I'm going to say they lose at Alabama, but here's my surprise. They have one loss that's really going to piss off the fan base. I think they lose at home to South Carolina.
I don't see that happening. Do you know the last time South Carolina's won in Death Valley, Joe?
We haven't played very much in Death Valley.
It's been a long time.
First of all, they didn't get in the SEC till the 90s, and they probably only played in Tiger Stadium. This is a complete guess. Since they got in the SEC, I'm guessing they've only played in Tiger Stadium 5 to 7 times.
I can give you your answer. They've played Rouge 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times since 2000. The last time South Carolina won in Baton Rouge was October 1st, 1994. And that is the only time they have ever won in Baton Rouge. 6, 7,
There's
8,
a bunch of
9 in
that won't
15
happen.
tries. That's the only time they've ever won in Baton Rouge.
No, it won't happen. Okay. I mean, I'm not rooting for it to happen. You asked me.
I don't think that's the game they lose. I think they'll lose to someone else.
I think they'll lose a game they're not supposed to lose. And
yeah, they always do.
And honestly,
be it. Go ahead.
I just think that Sellers is it's just underrated, and I think
I wouldn't say he's underrated. He's a Heisman contender.
Well, he's underrated by the average college football fan, not you and I who know more than average Joe. So that's
if I had to guess on the spot, I'd say they lose at Alabama and at Oklahoma.
Okay. Well, that would be bad.
I think they're going to drop, be it Ole Miss, be it Oklahoma, be it Florida. I think they're going to, or be it A&M. I think they're going to drop one other SEC game.
Theoretically, if they could go into that Oklahoma game, if they really did only have one loss and it was at Alabama, I mean, they could really kind of have a playoff berth wrapped up already in the grand scheme of things.
And it could
happen.
Brent Venables coaching for his job.
So. Yeah, it could be. All right. My Final Four, my semifinals in college football are very similar to yours. The only difference is instead of LSU, I got Georgia. And I know you're not as high. You kind of went back and forth on Georgia. This has been my Final Four since like 2 months ago. I have not changed my opinion on it at all.
That was my final for. Can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Fully transparent for everyone watching. I texted Jim yesterday. My Final Four in my initial Final Four had Florida.
I kind of chuckled, by the way.
Had Georgia in it, and 30 seconds later, I edited it and put LSU in there, and I said, it's my bias, but I'm putting LSU in over Georgia, but I love the Georgia pick. So
yeah, I just think, look, Georgia is, I wouldn't say they're flying under the radar. Kirby Smart's never going to fly under the radar, but they're not getting the love that they probably should have got just because of last year. Chad thinks that LSU is going to lose to Florida. Anyway, so those are my 4 picks. I feel the same way about Penn State, but I can't. I just have. Maybe it's my. See, you picked LSU. You're biased for. I think I picked against Ohio State. I think really the only reason why I put Penn State in there is, and I'm iffy on Penn State, is I think it's my bias against Ohio State. I just don't like Ohio State. I just don't.
Sure.
And the fact that they won last year, I don't see back to back. Darryl says I can say whatever I want.
No,
just don't say she's going to lose
it's
to Ole Miss.
Extremely hard to go back to back or replicate the success you had,
especially the way it is now. Especially now,
both your coordinators gone. When you and Zach alluded to it earlier when talking about the Eagles. When you lose both coordinators, it's difficult to replicate that production.
And in college football now that it's when they got 12 teams in there and you got to run a gauntlet, it's just completely different. All right, moving on. Championship game. Your championship game is Texas against Penn State.
Mm-hmm.
What do you never said anything about the Longhorns? Is Arch going to win the Heisman?
Yeah, you told me not to. You said everyone likes him.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. All right.
I mean, I think they've got the best defense in the country.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think they're the best team in the country, but that's a whole nother story. My title game is Texas and Clemson. Dabo getting back to the title game. I think these are the 2 best teams in the country. I really do. So I just went with who I thought the best 2 teams were. Even though I picked LSU, so maybe I'm picking LSU out of my own personal bias. Maybe it's because I like the shit talk and it's gotten me kind of pumped up. I don't know what it is, but I think by the end of the season, I think Klubnik wins the Heisman. I think Texas runs the table and gets to the championship game. So I think Clemson's only loss is tomorrow. I think Texas doesn't have a loss. I think you got undefeated number 1 against number 2 Clemson. That is my prediction for the title game.
I would be stunned if Texas navigates this schedule with a first-year starter undefeated, especially because I have them losing to Ohio State tomorrow.
Okay. I don't, but we'll see. All right. Title game, championship. Your 2025 national champion is the Penn State Nittany Lions, and all that talk about James Franklin, he's backing it up. And he's picking them to win it all.
Yep. I mean, I kind of gave this one away earlier. I love Penn State this year. I think they're excellent on defense, and they add Jim Knowles, who is arguably the best defensive coordinator in the country. If they can get their receivers going, there's no one that is going to be able to stop that offense. I think Texas is going to give them their best chance, but I think Penn State wins out because of experience in the end.
And I hate that I've been chalky all day long, both the NFL and in college football, but got to be chalky again. I think the Texas Longhorns, again, I really think they're the best team in college football. Wouldn't surprise me at all if Clemson made a run. I'm just not. I think Klubnik is going to win the Heisman. I really do.
I do too.
And look, I hope LSU gets in there. I hope they have fun. Charles Mangus, LSU natty again. Hey, would it shock me?
I hope
No,
Charles is right. No, it wouldn't shock me either.
That'd be a lot of fun. But I just think I'm going with the team that on August the 29th, I think is the best team in college football. It's hard to pick when you don't even know what the bracket's going to look like, obviously. Yeah. But I'm going with Texas. Gabe's going with Penn State. And that's that. And we had a lot of fun. Right?
I do really agree with your Heisman pick, though. I've got futures on 3 players to win the Heisman. I've got Klubnik. So I kind of had I had a favorite pick who I really thought was going to win, which was Klubnik. I had an intermediate pick. I think DJ Lagway is good value. I got him plus 2,200. And then I got Jeremiah Love, the Notre Dame running back, at plus 3,500.
Yeah. Oh, wait, I do have a birthday present for you, by the way. Before we go off the air. Happy birthday to Gabe Henderson, who turns 27 years young on Sunday. We told you earlier we would let you know more about how Evangeline Securities can help figure out what your family run or privately held business might be worth and whether it's time to sell. We ask, how do they do it? Well, you ask, and I'm glad you asked because it's a very important question, by God. After their complimentary valuation of your company, if you decide to proceed, native New Orleanians Nick Braden, Ron Hemelt, and the folks at Evangeline, they'll begin an extensive auction process from among established private equity funds from around the world, the whole wide world. And they'll maximize the return for the founder and his or her family. Evangeline Securities is the top producer on their platform. There are very few companies like them in this area. None. I say none. I dare you to find someone else with their dedication and success. They're fully licensed. They're ready to serve you. So get in touch with Nick and Ron about what's really important. And it ain't Cade Klubnik and it ain't the Texas Longhorns. Gabe Henderson, what is really important?
The rest of your life.
That's damn right. You can find them at www.evangelinesecurities.com. What are you looking forward to most besides Texas, Ohio State, and LSU Clemson tomorrow?
I am looking forward to – I'm going to sound like a sicko, Jim, so excuse me here. I am looking forward to Merrimack at Kent State.
Oh, my God. What a wacko.
Do you know why?
No, I don't know that I care why.
My favorite bet of the year. And if anyone consider this
sportsbookreview.com, by the way.
My birthday – and I actually have an article on it. I just wrote it. My favorite bet of the year is the Kent State Golden Flashes under 1.5 wins. They're playing an FCS school in Merrimack tomorrow. They're not favored by double digits. If they lose this game, there is almost no hope for them going over 1.5. So I love that. And then before I go, I will leave you with a parting stat to give you optimism about tomorrow. In the Dabo Sweeney era, which spans 2009 to 2025, Clemson is 6-13 against the spread against ranked SEC opponents. Clemson is -3.5 tomorrow.
Well, Dabo has his issues as well.
I think they win. Yeah. I mean, just look at last year. They got absolutely shit pumped by Georgia. And I hate using that language, but there's no other word for it. Georgia steamrolled them last year in the opener.
I don't know if you can say that even on this podcast, but you just did. So FCC,
sure. It's nothing worse than you guys have ever said.
YouTubers, YouTube administration, Gabe Henderson, everybody. Happy birthday, and I will see you on Wednesday.
Thank you. Likewise.
All right. That's right. The next show, I forgot to say this earlier, is not Monday. We are taking Monday off. It is Labor Day. I'm going to have enjoy the holiday weekend. To some extent, I'm going to work a little bit in the morning. My big fantasy draft is always on Labor Day. It is Labor Day at 3:00. So no show. I'm actually going to lunch also with a friend of mine if he's listening. Two of my good friends. One of them is taking me to late birthday / he's in town. I haven't seen him since last year. Lunch, bringing me a bottle of whiskey. It's going to be a very fun weekend for the Derrys. Look, this show again, y'all mean so much to me. Getting some presents is really cool. By the way, my wife says I got to stop giving out my address to strangers. So I guess I'm gonna have to open a PO box, or I'm gonna have you send it to Gabe's house. I'll give you Gabe's address. I don't give a shit. I'm going for Clemt. See what happens when you turn my age. Yeah. So isn't this show, though, in the grand scheme of things, wasn't this better than reminiscing about Katrina? I don't even like saying the name. It was for me. Lots of good stuff this morning. Who Dat Daddy? Happy birthday, Gabe, and many, many more, brother. Thank you to all the happy birthdays out there. Everybody. Barry, it's also your sister's birthday. Well, happy birthday to your sister as well. I think Nick Braden said it's his sister-in-law's birthday. Well, happy birthday to her. A lot of people born in August this time of year. We got to end the show, so I got to go. But I went and somebody sent me not too long ago the most popular. I don't know, popular is the right word, but the day that most birthdays are on, and they rank from 1 to 365 on how many people in the United States of America have birthdays on every day of the year. Now, obviously, February the 29th is the least common birthday in America, and I'm sure the world. But if you look, and not so much on August 29th, for some reason, August 29th is like 210th. I don't know, something like that. But if you look, the end of October and early part of September are the most common birthdays for the most part. It's not number one, and number one is like, I don't know, some weird day in June. I forget what it was. But number 2 was in September. But they're all around there, and you go back and you think about it, well, maybe our parents were having some fun back around Christmas. Sometimes you get snowed in. Although my parents lived in New Orleans at the time. So anyway, Who Dat Daddy says I should get some Woodford Reserve. Charles wants me to try some 18-year-old Jameson. I don't think that's what he's getting me, but maybe. Last year he got me a box of, am I allowed to say this in the air? Gabe, he got me a box of Cubans. They're not legal. So, of course, I didn't keep them. Right. Anyway. All right. Barry says it's because Dad got a present on Christmas. Exactly. Daryl says send him some ugly Texans football cards. Gabe, that's what you're getting for your birthday. Some ugly Texans football cards. All right, I really got to go. Again, our next show is going to be on Wednesday, September the 3rd at 11 a.m. And we get into our routine. Our guest is Mike Detillier this coming Wednesday. That's how we're going to. There is no Mono-E Monday. It's okay that we skip one. That way, if LSU does lose, I don't have to hear from I don't have to hear for an hour and a half from the Kelly haters. I don't know. Who Dat Daddy says, happy birthday again. And have a shot I probably will have a shot for my birthday. 2 or 5 shots. I don't drink as much as I used to. I joked early in the show. I don't remember a lot of my late 20s and my early 30s. It's true. Because I probably had too much fun. It's the reason why I had kids. It's the reason why at 57 today, I have a 9-year-old. I had a lot of fun in my late 20s and early 30s. Let's just put it that way. My wife is 10 years younger than I. And, that's not a bad thing. All right. Again, Mike Detillier on Wednesday. No Mono-E Monday. We get into our routine next week. Next Friday is our regular Pick'em show. UBN will be here. He will not be in Chicago like he is right now. He'll be here next Friday, and we will do our Pick'em show. I don't know exactly the format. We're going to have to figure that out, but it will be fun. I know Zach's going to basically fill the role of Larry, and he will give me his Saints pick. We'll both give our Saints pick, and then maybe we'll pick a couple other NFL games. Gabe I think we're going to do it with Gabe is he's going to give me his pick of the week like he did last year. Or maybe I'll give him a couple. Maybe we'll do 3 box with you, Ben. We'll see how it works. Don't know how it's going to happen. Anyway, we'll figure it out all during the week, but that's not for now because I'm ready to take some time off. I need to go take a nap or something and rest my head because I'm rambling on. That will do it for us on this Friday, August the 29th. I thank you all so much. You don't know how much you all mean to me, the Dattitude family, whether you've been with us for 1 episode, 409, or somewhere in between. You're that important to me. I promise you, you mean that much to me. Subscribe and like to the Dattitude podcast. Click the little bell to receive notifications when we go on the air live. You can check out all of our NFL team-by-team previews. They're all up now. They're all on our YouTube page, all 32 of them. You can tell me whether you agree or disagree. You can also find us wherever you get your podcasts, including Apple, Spotify, and many more. And always find a replay of the show on NOLA.com/sports. You can find me on bet.NOLA.com. You can find the Saints Insiders on NOLA.com/Saints. And you can find Gabe on sportsbookreview.com where he'll tell you all about Merrimack and Kent State and whoever the hell else he's got. Whatever. We just know they're going to win. And you know what else? You know what else I know? I know that you're all going to have a wonderful, fabulous, glorious 3-day holiday weekend. We will see you on Wednesday. Take it easy, my friends.